How do you even begin to describe Pope John Paul II? Let's see. He was a poet, a philosopher, a globetrotter who spoke a ton of languages, and, oh yeah, a saint who helped bring down an empire. But it's not that simple, is it? He was also a staunch traditionalist who kicked up a whole lot of controversy. So today, we're going to try to explore the incredibly complex life of Pope John Paul II, a man whose impact is still being felt and debated all over the world. All right, let's kick things off with just one number, 455. What's that about? Well, for 455 years, think about that, 4.5 centuries, every single pope had been Italian. It was just the way things were, until 1978. That's when that tradition was completely shattered with the election of Karol Wojtyła, a man from, as he himself called it, a country far away, Poland. This wasn't just a surprise. It was an absolute earthquake in the Catholic world, and it signaled that something totally new, something revolutionary was about to begin. And his time as pope? Wow, it was absolutely one for the record books. We're talking 26 years on the job, making him one of the longest reigning popes ever. But here's the thing. He didn't just hang out in the Vatican. No way. He visited 129 countries. That's how he earned the nickname the Pilgrim Pope. And get this is probably the most mind-blowing stat. He made more people saints than all of his predecessors over the last 500 years combined. These aren't just statistics on a page. They tell a story of a deliberate mission to globalize the church and to recognize holiness in every single corner of the world. But to really get who this man was, the one who would take the world stage like no pope before him, we've got to go way back to the very beginning. His story doesn't start in the grandeur of Rome. No, it starts in a place forged by hardship. 20th century Poland, a nation that was about to endure some of the absolute worst horrors of the century. And his youth, it was just one tragedy after another, relentless. When he was only 8 years old, his mother died. Then he's a young man at university full of promise, and bam, the Nazis invade Poland. His whole world is torn apart, his school is shut down, and then in 1941, his father, his last remaining immediate family member, dies. Just think about it. By the time he was 20 years old, Karol Wojtyła was a complete orphan, all alone in a country being crushed by a brutal occupation. He summed it all up himself later in life with this just devastatingly simple sentence. He said, "At 20, I had already lost all the people I loved." You just can't understand the man he became without grasping that early, profound experience of loss. It's what would fuel his incredible empathy for human suffering for the rest of his life. His resilience was forged in the fire of not one, but 2 totalitarian regimes. To avoid being shipped off to a Nazi labor camp, he worked in a limestone quarry. He was once hit by a German army truck and literally left for dead, a close call he later saw as a divine sign of his true calling. He even had to hide in a basement while the Gestapo swept through Krakow, rounding up men. And through all that chaos and danger, what was he doing? He was studying in secret in an underground seminary, preparing for the priesthood right in the shadows of tyranny. So this is the man forged in all that hardship who would become known as the Global Pontiff. He was absolutely determined to take the papacy out of the Vatican and bring it directly to the people all over the world. And when he traveled, he wasn't just some passive visitor, shaking hands and smiling. He was an active player on the world stage, and he was not afraid to speak truth to power. Take his visit to Chile in 1987. The country was under the thumb of the dictator Augusto Pinochet. And John Paul II gets there and just bluntly calls the regime dictatorial to the press. That's not just a casual comment. It was a powerful act of solidarity that many people believe helped fire up the opposition movement that eventually brought democracy back. Every single time he landed in a new country, he did the same powerful thing. Before any official meetings or speeches, he would get down on his knees and kiss the tarmac. And this wasn't some PR stunt cooked up for the cameras. It was something he started doing way back when he was just a young priest in a small Polish village. It became his global trademark, a profound symbol of humility and respect for every land and every people he visited. Okay, but his legacy, it's not simple at all. It's really a story of 2 sides. On one hand, he was this incredible bridge builder. But on the other, for a lot of people, he actually deepened divisions. He was a figure of immense dialogue, for sure. But he also held firm on some really controversial positions. He just shattered barriers that had been up for centuries. He gathered leaders from every major world religion to pray for peace together. He made a historic visit to the Great Synagogue of Rome, the first pope ever to do so, where he called the Jewish people our elder brothers. And as you can see right here, he became the first pontiff in all of history to enter and pray inside a mosque, a truly groundbreaking gesture of respect to the Muslim world. And this is where you really see the complexity of his legacy. On one side, you have the hero, the man who played a key role in bringing down communism, who mediated international peace, and who fundamentally healed the church's relationship with Judaism. But on the other side, you see a staunch conservative, a man who firmly opposed contraception and women's ordination, and whose papacy was ultimately tarnished by the clerical sexual abuse scandal, with many critics arguing his response was way too slow and just not enough. After a long and very public battle with Parkinson's disease, his life finally came to an end. But his impact was so profound that it set him on an almost unprecedentedly rapid path to sainthood. Literally, the moment he died, the calls for him to be made a saint began. You had these massive crowds in St. Peter's Square chanting Santo Subito, which means sainthood now. And you know what? The Vatican listened. They completely waived the normal 5-year waiting period to even start the process. He was beatified in just 6 years and declared a saint only 9 years after his death. A near record-breaking pace that really stands as a testament to his immense popularity and impact. So we're left with this big question, right? Was he a revolutionary unifier who helped topple an empire and heal ancient religious wounds? Or was he a staunch traditionalist whose doctrines left him out of step with a rapidly changing world? Maybe the answer is that he was both. A complex giant of history whose legacy continues to be debated to this very day.